careful, there's a really loud-mouthed, slightly obnoxious senator coming in.
That's not Cory Booker.
Do not let Cory Booker take my screen time. Cover his face.
Get this face out of here.
You're not going to give Senator Booker more face time, are you?
The man has a face. You know his face.
Yes,
He's Mr. Smiles.
Don't be a kiss ass to this
I
guy.
love you, Lee.
Authentic is not giving extra love to Cory Booker.
I feel like a great energy out there tonight. It's really exciting. People are feeling.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say to you. I was like, listen, for the people that don't know, you and I are actually friends. We're both passionately committed to this country. We both believe in what it could be. We have bonded over that from the beginning. Every time we see each other, we're like, I get you. But what are you seeing in there? What is going on in there? What is the vibe? Because when we watch it from the outside with the hearings and these confirmations of this hideous cabinet, we think, okay, the Republicans have lost their minds. They're just going to go along with everything that's terrible for the country. And where are the Democrats on this? But today, in this moment, you guys are staying all night to make sure the American people see what you stand for. And I think that's really important.
So first of all, I can't let you get away with saying nice things about me without me telling the truth about you, which is you are one of the voices. And I know friends in my life lean on your posts every day and they feel a connection to you. And I get props when I tell people I actually know you. But more than ever right now, you're doing something which I think is providing a service. And it's not just informing, it's not just activating, it's not just inspiring, but at a time that people are angry, hurt, afraid, you're creating community and connection that's helping to keep people not just sane, but sourced, nurtured, nourished, because this is a long fight. So I just want to say thank you, because there's been many times where I'm home, just scrolling and I see you and I pause for a moment, and you can't fake the sort of the real heart that you pour into your posts. So I'm just grateful for that.
Thank you.
Of course, this is not on subject 100%, but I think there's this atomizing forces in our country that are trying to make us feel isolated and alone and disconnected. And there are folks that profit off of that. And I think that this country needs more people that create connection and community and help people to feel seen and heard. And I think you do a really good job at that.
Well, you know what? I just want to say to that, and I know we're off topic, but I just want to say, I think there are way more Americans who believe in the same thing you and I do, in the power of freedom, in the right to vote, in human rights and liberty, and the things that America is supposed to stand for. And we have somehow got off track with that, with the leadership we have, with the media that has promoted it, and with these lies that constantly perpetrate our lives. Yeah. And I think we see the lies so clearly in what you're doing today. They have said, we ran on making things easier for Americans. We ran on making things more inexpensive, and we're going to fix your lives. And yet everything we're seeing from their budget on down is going to make our lives harder and isn't for us at all.
I believe that there's a deep decency and goodness in our country. I believe that however you identify, that we are a nation that still believes in empathy, compassion. It still believes in virtue, still believes that there is right and wrong, fair and unfair. And so as we are slowly, through voices like yours, through the work we're doing tonight, exposing their outright lies, their own supporters do not agree with this. And this is why Republican town halls have turned into people coming to show their discontent. Because whatever you say you are, when you cut funding to National Park Service, when you cut funding to 9/11 responders, when you say in your campaign, I will not cut Medicaid, and then you announce that you're going to support a budget plan that's going to cut Medicaid. Almost a majority of children born in America rely on Medicaid for their childbirth. These are things that just become obvious lies. And then they try to distract us with other lies. Don't believe what you're hearing from that aid worker in Uganda who is trying to stop Ebola, not just stop it there, but stop it from coming here. Don't believe that. Believe the lies that they're spreading about condoms to Gaza, a lie. Lies that they're spreading about a trans opera in Ireland or wherever, lie. And this is the only way they can try to cover what they're doing. Elon Musk's lies are becoming more and more exposed in places like the Wall Street Journal are now calling out the lies that they're telling as they try to slash fundamental services for Americans that our tax dollars pay for, like the 20% of funding that comes from the Department of Education for our public schools, things that we pay for. New Jerseyans send more to the federal government than they get back. And now you want to cut critical funding for special needs classes in schools that will make my property tax go up? That's a lie. And so we're starting to see it. But all of us who are listening to you, Lee, we have to be telling it more and more and more. And if you want to know why that's important, it's because of what we did the last time he was president and he tried to tear down our health care. We won that battle here because of voices like yours and others who rallied so many people off the couch to stand up and to come out and actually push back on these things. So that's the point we're at right now, where people are beginning to see. He promised me he wouldn't cut Medicare. He cut it. He promised me he was going to lower my costs. Prices are going up. He promised me that he would stand up for the middle class, for the working person, and his budget plan is for billionaires and the wealthiest corporations. The more we tell the truth of what's happening, supported even by Republican sources, that the more we are going to stop this.
I think it's also important, Corey, that, and it's so great that you're talking to me because it's speaking to us in our own language. Government has a very specific way of speaking. You were talking about education. If you cut the Department of Education, these special needs children won't have school. And then my property taxes will go up to pay for these things. I think people don't equate those things together. They sometimes think the Department of Education, like, do I need that? And you're like, well, here's what happens when we cut the Department of Education. The schools still need the money. So your property taxes are going to go up. And people go, oh, hold on for a second. Like, I didn't know that was going to happen. That's the thing. We were just talking with Senator Kane about what happens when you cut USAID. And people are like, okay, well, I don't care. It's overseas, right? You're like, no, most of the money's spent here with our farmers and our people. When we were sending things to Ukraine, they're like, why are we sending billions of dollars to Ukraine? You're like, we're not. We're spending most of the money here, or we're sending them old weapons and then we build new weapons for our military. And you're like, I didn't get that. I think most people don't get that. So it's very important that you guys are out here, standing up on the Senate floor and saying, we want this amendment, don't cut Medicaid. And they say, we vote against that. We want this amendment, don't cut cancer funding. They vote against it. We want this amendment, keep Meals on Wheels. They vote against it. So then you can actually see what their actions are versus what they say on Fox News.
Yeah.
Because they're not the same.
And let me just tell you, please don't fall for, they're trying to distract you with vilification. We know that it's the oldest thing to do is to blame the suffering and the pain you're feeling on some group, otherizing some group. They did it to the Irish. They did it to the Catholics in our country. A whole party raged here, got so much fame, the Know Nothing Party, because they were vilifying Catholics. They will do it to minority groups. The whole strategy Nixon had, the Southern strategy, was all about fostering hate towards Black people. So understand that. And so when they try to distract you with a fraction of 1% of the population by punching down on trans kids, understand that they're trying to get you to look at them, to vilify others in order to hide the money they're taking away from you and your family, in order to give tax cuts to the wealthiest people. That's what we're seeing right now. I just heard from a mom of a trans kid who was weeping about the fact that their kid feels unsafe in America now, feels attacked, feels afraid, not going to school because of fear, all because they're trying to whip up your hate over an issue. If you really care about kids, deal with school shootings, because gun violence is the number one thing that's killing our children. If you really care about kids, restore the Democrats' child tax credit that cut child poverty in our country in half, because our child poverty rates are so much higher than other countries. If you really care about kids, don't do what you're about to do to Medicaid, which is almost a majority of our kids are born on Medicaid. And so be careful what they're doing. They're trying to tell lies, whip up hate, divide us against each other in the country, telling us that family that's struggling in a red county has different interests than the family that's struggling in Paterson, New Jersey. No, we have common interests. Where they profit is where they pit us against each other in order to hide the fact that they're giving more tax cuts to the wealthiest in our country and the wealthiest corporations.
Yeah, it's the curtain they pull across. Like, don't look behind the curtain with the Wizard of Oz.
Yes, there's somebody that you want to talk to more than me.
Absolutely, Corey. Thank you so much
No,
for taking the
right
time to
here.
do this.
Do
Who's
I get to give the
this?
introduction? Do I get to
Do
tell
it.
you
Let's
that
bring
Angela
it.
Alsobrooks is one of the best things that ever happened to the Senate?